It's auto-recorded, so it goes to Swix's account, and then I think he uploads it later.
I got it back.
But you can ask him if you don't want him to post it.
No, I'm cool. This one's good. Just checking if I can see the recording or whatever. But yeah, I'll hit him up afterwards and see what's going on. Okay, and hopefully my demo works and all that stuff. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna launch right into it and see how it goes. Cool. So today, the topic I wanted to speak about was using Claude Code in VMs to do marketing automation. So basically, I've had this dream for a while now since I saw, what was it called? Open Interpreter, I guess, the code interpreter that could kind of do like desktop automation a little bit. So ever since I saw code generation, I was like, wow, you can generate Playwright code or you can generate like Kua code. And then you could use that with some vision to actually like do a bunch of things across apps for you as you. I've just had this idea in the back of my head for a while now. And then recently it came back around again because I actually downloaded the Playwright MCP for Claude Code and I started using it for my like web dev projects. And I've been doing that to some great success. Like I just give Claude a description or some pictures of what I want to do, and it'll just keep grinding with the MCP by itself. It'll like go to the web browser and so after I did that, I was like, hey, like, can I test my own apps like this too? Like I built some chat apps. I'm like, can I create simulated users and chat with them? And so I did that a bunch too. And then I was like, okay, wait, if Claude Code can just like actually, remote control my browser like quite well, why can't I just go one step further and have it run a bunch of different tasks for me, logged into my own accounts, right? So I see Zach has said something about, the person who left Claude Code running on a Mac Mini seems to have shut down quietly. So yes, there's a danger here, of course, of Claude going into some sort of loop, getting eager and like nuking everything. So even I haven't yet let the agents like run wild. And that's something I'd love, like if people want to chat about at the end, like how we can put guardrails, like can you have another Claude, watch a Claude? Does that work well? Because I am also using Zen MCP a lot and asking Claude to like ensemble responses from other LLMs at different junctures. And I also don't think that Claude Code necessarily is the best agent for like computer use. Like there's different checkpoints you might want to insert like in the flow, and you may want a more workflow approach for doing like computer use tasks of like a certain duration. Ones that take humans like let's say 7 minutes to like 2 hours, right? Those are the kinds that you want to package up for computer use and make them repeatable. So you may want to put all these hooks in at different points. And Claude Code doesn't really enable that as of now. They may, of course, evolve the API for this use case because tons of people are doing this. But it's also such a great Swiss Army knife. It's like crazy easy to get started. And we're still in that era. So that's why I've been going with it. I'll show you guys a quick demo in a second. And so what I've been doing to like, instead of having a Mac Mini, my idea was to like clone multiple VMs where I'm logged in as me. So I log into all my accounts on like one VM and then start doing a task. Then if I need to do a new task, my system will just clone the whole VM, spawn it again, and then do the new task in the new VM, right? And basically that way keep the sessions warm. And if the sessions start to expire, it can reach out to me to like get help to log in to different services, right? Before I jump into the demo, I'm just going to talk a little bit about myself. I'm Aditya. I'm a senior AI engineer. Professionally, I'm an AI consultant. I work for like Fortune 50 tech company right now as a contractor. And I'm based between New York City and San Francisco. And I am hacking on this all the time. So if anyone wants to hack with me, please hit me up after this. I also like found some tweets about people doing really cool things with Claude Code. Some of them have been shared in the channel. I do encourage you to check out these tweets and think about these use cases if you haven't. Somebody's actually been using Claude Code, Tariq here, as a video editor. And the video is actually really good. It just has Claude Code write remotion code and then compile it. I've done a bunch of man code generation before myself. It's kind of interesting. I built like a little web app for it with code assistance rather than like have Claude, do everything from the beginning to the end. But there's no reason I couldn't, and it is a really cool way to make movies, especially if you know nothing. Just start talking, and next thing you know, you'll have one. And if you're a senior engineer, you can definitely keep iterating on it. Ask Claude Code to build you an app that controls it, etc. The whole thing is just growing. People are using Claude Code for all kinds of things. People are even asking things like, while Claude Code is running, what do you do on your breaks? Do you run another Claude Code? And the answer is probably yes, right? Okay, cool. So let me show you an example of a task running in a VM. So I spun up a Linux box, and I found this VM platform called Arrakis. It's kind of like E2B and stuff, but it's really well engineered, and it's completely open source. So is E2B, I think, but I just started out with Arrakis because I saw a video of it from the AI Engineer World's Fair, and I was really impressed with the architecture and the way it works. And it just spins up like multiple Linux VMs. And basically, I've got a setup script right now and like a login procedure. XFCE, maybe. Yeah, I don't know what the desktop window manager is actually. It's spinning up multiple Ubuntu VMs. Is this XFCE? Not familiar. Probably, right? And yes, I use Claude Code to assemble this presentation, of course. It's like the easiest way to do it. And so like here, for example, I should be logged into my accounts. This is the task I did already, but I can do it again just to show you guys how it works. The task here says, and I actually generated most of this task by giving a screen recording of me doing something to Gemini, and then I extracted the script, right? And then I had to modify the script a little bit, like the end part of the script I've written, but the first part of the script I've actually got from a screen recording. So the way I'm imagining this in the future is you can actually record like a bunch of stuff on your computer, and then, being a sysadmin Linux type of person, like I'm used to assembling scripts and testing them even in production, like with dry runs and stuff. So I'm okay with like creating like a composable script that then I can play over and over. So that's kind of what I've been going for. But I definitely want to generate some parts of it from like literal recordings, like me doing something, like what's the script you have, and then editing it from there. Yeah, exactly. So it's also, speaking of DevOps, I'll seg into that for a second. Another place I got inspiration from, I actually wrote an app which actually would test technical docs for freshness. So like quick starts just like this. It would actually go through and set up all the services in the cloud and then actually perform every single step in every single language. And we got 95 to 99% accuracy without even doing multiple runs. So yeah, you can actually write a script for like DevOps just like this and just run an LLM against a markdown version of this and give it like a Docker sandbox. And you'll have to tweak with like the framework, but in our case we got it like crazy good for the standard, like set up this library, set up this, any library or anything you set up like an open source project pretty soon should come with its own like agent friendly quick start, or even the agent should be able to read the quick start and just get all set up for you. So yeah, this is going beyond that to kind of doing that for your like marketing tasks. Right, so let's see. Hopefully, this task is like it's prepping Discord messages, custom Discord messages to everyone I attended a hackathon with. So there's two things I'm going to do at the same time, and hopefully they're going to work. The first is I'm going to run it once with Claude here, and then at the same time I'm going to clone this whole VM and spawn a new copy of it, open it up, and do the task in the other VM as well, just to show like the whole thing working, right? Yeah, and I see more people in the chat talking about how document freshness is, kind of solved problem now. And it's really exciting for the future of DevOps, to be honest. Okay. So I pasted this task. Much of it came from a recording. I'll show you guys the recording. I should have it open somewhere. So yeah, I tested both. I created like this whole cloud recorder which uses Gemini Live and Gemini like the regular 2.5 Pro. The Gemini Live wasn't so good, but the 2.5 Pro was actually excellent. So if you just upload it and say like analyze this screen recording and generate detailed technical documentation for the workflow shown, it literally like spits out like every single step, and it's perfect. Is that a default Tmux script? What's the question? Zach, I didn't fully understand your question. You said, do you end up wrapping a script around it to retry around usage cutoffs? So no, not yet, but I do plan to wrap Claude Code inside Tmux and do the interactivity with another terminal application, or they have the Claude Code API where you can just run it as a command. The only thing is, for the command, I haven't yet tried stuffing really long blocks of text into it, which in the past I've had a lot of trouble with doing over a terminal. So they have a Python API as well. But yeah, at some point pretty soon, as I keep going into this, I do expect to actually wrap Claude code in a user proxy. So the Tmux emulator I'm using is called BYOBU, and it's Ubuntu's like copy. Oh, cool. So it has gone in here. Where's the content? Okay. So yeah, this guy's running happily. As you can see, I just gave it the script. It just does the thing. The thing is to go through this whole list, find the Discord handles, and start writing messages to each person. Right now, they're just drafts. So I tell it to make a new Google Doc with all the draft messages. Pretty soon, I'll be spamming all of you guys. Definitely I'll have written it myself. Okay, so let's see if at the same time we can take a snapshot and spin up a copy of this machine and have that copy do the same task. And I do have some more tasks, but I couldn't, like this is the most demo ready one that doesn't have my personal information and stuff. Okay, this is Arrakis client snapshot. Where is my instruction? Little magic ChatGPT overlay. So this says Arrakis client snapshot -n agent sandbox. And I think it's -I. Okay, I don't think it's right. Let me just check that. That part is right, but the out is not there. -I, that's where it is. So -n agent sandbox, that's the name of my thing. All right, and then -I agent sandbox snap 2025-07-25. Cool. All right, so this should actually take a snapshot, and I actually haven't tried this in a while, so I'm excited to see this work. I'm going to take the snapshot, spin out the snapshot, do the task, and hopefully I'll still be logged into everything. So yeah, you can use Claude Code to use Tmux to run itself, and that is exciting. I'm ready to try that. For the document freshness project, I actually wrote like a meta agent that actually spins up Tmux and sends commands, and either uses background jobs or different Tmux windows, depending on what's easier, and can do interactive commands too. So I've done all of this before, but it was for like I kind of need to do it again in open source way. Okay, so while that takes place, maybe I can go back to my presentation, or yeah, you can see it's writing the messages here, and it'll just keep going. It does lose some fidelity across compactions, especially, and it definitely can only do like, maybe 10 or 20 like visual browser frames max before reaching like the context limit. So, there's a lot of but I can see myself starting. My goal is by the end of August or even before that to actually have like 2 jobs running like scripts all the time. And I'm trying to figure out like what's a lesser set of things I can log into so that even if it explodes, it's not like, the end of the world. Okay, so let's see, that was the task. Let me go back to my presentation. Actually, I have too many windows. I'll just open the presentation again. Coaching. Yeah, cool. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And in the meanwhile, so another thing I actually started doing was I also looked at Composio because Composio is really exciting. It's like a framework. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it basically supposedly allows you to log in to 10,000 plus tools, mostly using like APIs. It still doesn't have like Instagram and TikTok and stuff and like WhatsApp. So there's still a lot that like you actually still probably need browser-based automation for, but it does supposedly provide access to all these different platforms through API access. Thank you. And so I'm thinking of creating like a meta API that kind of wraps Composio. So you have the tools that you have in Composio, but then I want to maintain my own set of capabilities and skills of things you can do through browser automation and kind of use both together so that when you write these scripts, it can actually like parse out what can be done by tools, and then you can step through them like step by step and test that they're working and replace some steps with more efficient steps if that is a good idea. And the two use cases that really were driving me myself is that I am Indian, so I'm in all these WhatsApp groups with like my family members, and there's all this activity going on in there that I'm never keeping up with, like somebody's birthday or anniversary. And so I've always thought it'd be really cool if an AI agent could come in and have a little bit of personal CRM information about me and just like enrich these chats with just friendly messages from me at appropriate times. And another use case is my wife has a marketplace, and in the marketplace, it's a marketplace for summer camps. And every time a support ticket comes into Zendesk, it's usually from a parent or a teacher about a child, or from a camp about a child. And you kind of have to fuzzy match it to the actual booking, because it sometimes isn't always the parent who created the booking. It's like the other parent, or it's like a teacher or somebody else. So you often have to like fuzzy match it and verify like which booking it's attached to. And then you usually have to log into a third-party portal where the summer camp enrollment is. And then you also usually have to look at the past history of the tickets. And you kind of have to look at all that information and then ensemble a response and then rewrite the response using ChatGPT. That's what they do manually right now. So I looked at that and I was like, wow, like that whole thing, Claude Code could prepare all the drafts for you. So like these are the two tasks that I'm going to try to automate end to end as soon as I'm a little more confident in these primitives. Okay, let's see how the job is gone. Okay, snapshot created. So now how do I create a new one? Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to restore agent sandbox new from my snap, which is called agent sandbox snap 2025. Yeah, and I've been meaning to script all these like wrapper commands too, but it's just a little early. But I hope to have this all like automated or in a dashboard, or at least like in a set of commands I can run from my machine. Is that right? Okay. Failed to create tap device. What the hell does that mean? Sorry about that. That's a bumble. If anybody knows what this error means, I don't want to kill my other VM while it's trying to restore. Let's try to do this. Yeah, so about use SQLite, I was actually leaning towards using a database. I still haven't got it to work properly. It's called Fireproof, and it's a really interesting database. I also met these people at the AI Engineer World's Fair at the end. It's a really interesting database. It's a CRDT style database, a document DB, and basically it syncs to a file, but then if different versions do different things, they'll all reconcile neatly. So I'm thinking of using this first, but I had some problems getting it to work on the server side. It's currently really optimized to work like in your browser tab. So if I can't get it to work, I'm just going to go back to SQLite. And I've already got the multiple VMs able to sync over R2. So when they start, they all share like an R2 bucket, and they can dump like JSON files in there. And at some point, I will add a DB layer so I can have like a CRM, and then maybe something like this so you can actually sync different actions. So one can do one part and the other can do the other part, and then the orchestrator can wait for the sub-agents to finish, and they can all be on different VMs. That's my wish anyway. Okay, so let's see what it says. The kernel couldn't allocate this interface, but why not? Why can't I have two VMs? I had them before. Okay, that doesn't seem so sound. Okay, let's try this. Oh no, it's a lot of commands and there's sudo in them. Great. Crazy. Okay. Oh, nice. Okay, let's see. I can try to shut this VM down and then try to open the other one. And just see if the actual session cloning works. I don't know why the second VM isn't working, but I can look into it after this call. It'd still be cool to see the whole session be duplicated. Okay, so first of all, hopefully, did I close my Google Sheets already? Is it done? Okay. I guess the playwright session, it auto closes. Cool. What is it done here? Yeah, so as you can see, it's actually written the messages. And I've done this task a bunch now. The messages are actually really quite decent for like cold outreach messages. And I have tested on the Discord UI as well. It doesn't do very well. So that's the thing. There's a lot of edges with like Google Docs, Gmail. Some apps it's great, but other apps like Discord is really not good at all. So there's a lot of actual capability discovery that needs to be done. And then of course you can find different approaches for different platforms. So that's what my thinking was. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do now you guys have seen this work. I'm going to try to close this VM and maybe restart my Arachnid server and try to clone a new VM, and it'll be in exactly the right state. So rather than trying to mess with whatever the hell is going on there, and take a look at that later. Okay, cool. Now it's back up. It should be back up. Let's try to do that. They have a newer version of the Arachnid where the snaps and the loading is supposed to be faster, but I haven't pulled it. So this might take like a minute or two. So yeah, N8N does actual Discord automation. Any tips and tricks like that, I'd love to hear them chat about them in the channel now that you guys know what I'm trying to do. Like any shortcuts to doing it faster. And I hope to release like an update like this at least like once a month or so, as long as I keep hacking on it. Let's see what else I had in the presentation. While we wait for the snapshot to load. So yeah, Composer has got a really nice schema for like grabbing different apps and then figuring out if you're logged into them and figuring out different actions. I'm thinking of like a more expanded like schema that wraps it so that you can actually remember little scripts. I don't know if all of this is over engineering. This is just where my mind was going. I'm actually just going to try to solve the two tasks that I mentioned next and have that script running and then revisit it. But yeah, it's quite interesting to think about like having an API where you know the app, you know the capabilities beforehand, so that when you scan a document like this, you can actually figure out the dependencies and you can have the user like do all logins in like one session, or have like a Manus style view where you can pass the control back to the user so they can log in and go back again. But then once they're logged in, you remember that fact across the whole system. You know you have a live session for that web app. I also want to do Android automation, see how that goes. So yeah, the advantages over traditional integrations are you can do stuff with TikTok, Instagram. Obviously, a lot of that is really visual. I was thinking about like what would it take to have like Claude Code attend a Twitter space, right? Or like work with like any kind of media heavy platform like TikTok. So yeah, any suggestions anybody has over there about how to quickly analyze video, or participate in Twitter space would be nuts. If it could do that. So that is kind of like a stretch goal that I'd love to think about. So yeah, that's the thing. These are the scenarios: marketing automation, CRM, sales, personal productivity. business operations, and then yeah, these are interesting problems. I've categorized them. Obviously, the task recording, how do you do that? Like, you basically want to end up with a doc, like a quick start, and then you want to step through it in a Manus-style player and validate each step. That's one. But getting that right and making that feel right. I'm obviously going to do it for myself in this scrappy way, but if you actually ever want to do it a lot, like when you're not so technical, like how would you do that? Then, of course, the capability decomposition, it's always living. Is it a good idea to really, I mean, I think it is definitely a good idea to maintain a library of all these little scriptlets and know which tool is best for what, but it's just like a lot of work. And yeah, thank you. DIY Manus is definitely interesting. And with the focus of having it be like repeatable scripts, right? So it's something slightly different. The Manus part is really good for the task recording and teaching, but you need the higher level where you can then like play the jobs and see how they went, kind of like a test software. Same thing. And then this is not really over engineering. It is actually really valuable that your agents, while trying to do things, can grab capabilities and actions from others and be told how to do tasks like before they try to do them. And then I would actually, of course, there's the danger of like the side effects and stuff. So, I don't know if you guys have seen the Real Bench. It's actually really cool. I haven't actually run it yet, but they really have fantastic like simulations of popular websites with like simulated checkouts and stuff, and it's a benchmark as well. So it's something I'm quite interested to throw this platform into quite soon if I can figure out the bridge, because it seems a way to at least measure like how good is it at autonomously doing like a wide variety of tasks, and then saving what it succeeds at inside this capability, like memory, basically. And then yeah, another big problem I have is with laziness and meta control. A lot of the work that I'm doing while I was doing these tasks is literally me telling Claude, like, did you hallucinate? Can you check the output?
Is something I should, do you want me to, what I start with the data so you guys can start looking at it?
Yeah.
It went off mute by accident, but no big deal. Okay, so did this restore work as well? No. Damn it. Context deadline did. Why is it closed? All right, I'm going to give this a few more minutes, otherwise I'm just going to abandon it and I'll tell you guys next. So yeah, I started out using Fireproof in order to actually just have the different VMs be able to communicate state to themselves, right? Because they would just like write JSON somewhere like, yo, this task is done. And then you could view all the results in a dashboard instead of having to log into all these VMs. But then the actual syncing didn't work super well outside of like inside React or inside of, it just didn't work so well outside of inside a browser tab. Because I just don't think, like, it's all written in TypeScript, and they say they've got it working with Deno, but I couldn't get to replicate. And so I'm going to try again, but until then, they all are connected to R2, and you can just dump JSON. So I created the slides with Claude Code. I literally have this long running session, and I can show you guys how I started. It should be in here. Man, that's a lot of HTML, of course. I asked her to change the theme a couple of times. Not helpful to you guys, but I'll show you how I started. Yes, exactly. So skill library building is not implemented yet. I have a SQLite database and like a scrappy version of it, but not properly implemented yet. But yes, I am representing the workflows. I'm representing them as the markdown files, but the markdown is basically the goal is to put them in a format like this for humans, right? And then translate that to JSON. But the JSON is just so that you can save it in document.db, not it's actually a text document with some like metadata, right? Because it's like WordWare. You actually want to write a natural language thing with steps, maybe even screenshots, right? But then your system can look at it, calculate missing prerequisites, calculate the state of things, and so may stay all this stuff. Cool, good to know. Okay, so I think the replication has flopped, and I'm not going to fight with it anymore. Let's see, it keeps saying some deadline exceeded. Yeah, but I have done this before, so I guess you'll just have to take my word for it. You can clone the whole session. Cool, that's all I've got. So do you guys want to chat more, or Any ideas, thoughts, anything like that? Oh yeah, I can show you guys the presentation, how I created it real quick, and then wrap up. Blah, 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 blah. I had read a blog post before this too. When did I say AI in action? Article. Okay, so here we go. I say, awesome sauce, I now need you to take a step back and help me roll an AI in Action Club presentation. The topic, and for this, I built a dummy browser extension, a Gemini Live screen recorder, capabilities map for different software, hosted Arrakis VMs on a cloud machine, and testing duplication of snapshots. And for the live demo, I'm going to duplicate a snapshot. And then this is the new capabilities map I have, and go for it. And then it created original structure, and then I had it revise that a bit, and then I just said go ahead and print slides, and that was how I did it. So yeah, I've been doing this at work too. It works really well, and even having a giant session is often useful because then it has all the context, and I routinely dump like the context to different markdown files so I can try to look up like things from the past. Cool. So it's fun. I haven't seen an AI action for a while, so glad to kick off a new run. Yeah, thanks everybody. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I'll start a thread in the channel too. And I know you guys all talk about similar topics in there too. So excited to participate, and if you think of any tips on a co-hack, hit me up. Cool. Bye, everybody.
All right, thanks, Aditya. All right, so well, I guess K-Ball's not here. We have a speaker lineup for next week already. I think he's talking about a Ruby SDK for getting docs using MCP, something like that. All right, so yeah, look forward to it. See you all next week.